Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new here. So for today's video, we are doing our much anticipated palette declutter. I have 406 palettes sitting right here in front of me and I want to cut that down. 99 of it is my Colourpop drawer. So we're going to go through each drawer and we're going to declutter palettes. And I'm going to do this a little differently because I just did a whole video where I showed you guys my entire eyeshadow palette collection. So instead of doing that again this video, I'm just going to kind of go through each drawer, pull out the palettes that I know that I don't want to keep, and kind of go over the reasons why. Switch it up just a tad since you guys just watched the whole video. But if you guys want to see what my entire eyeshadow palette collection is, I will have the video listed down below. But with that said, guys, let me get the camera set up and let's go ahead and get this declutter started. Okay, so we're gonna ignore this drawer because this is a drawer of all the new makeup that I need to try. But here we have my Odin's Eye Cosmetics drawer. We have my like Halloween drawer. We have just random assortment of palettes drawer. We have all of like my indie brands in here. We have more indie brand in here. These two drawers right here are just dedicated to my Colourpop. So I'm really gonna go through here because I need to, you know, condense this down just a little bit. We have all my Milk makeup in ABH. We have my Blend Bunny in BH and Be Perfect. We have my just random sort of higher end. All Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, and Huda Beauty. This is all P. Louise with 2 Patrick Ta, Dominique Cosmetics, and Morphe. So we're going to kind of go through. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, everything you guys see in these drawers right here, I'm probably like not going to declutter because this is like more of like my hoarding issues that we see right here. So I don't really plan to declutter anything right here, nor am I going to declutter anything from my Glam Light drawer. So we're just going to mainly focus on all these drawers right here. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. All right, guys, like I said, I wanted to do something a little different. Typically, the last couple times I've done eyeshadow palette declutters, I did a whole collection and declutter in one video. Now we're going to do it differently, where I'm just going to be going through each drawer and pulling out the palettes that I know either I want to keep or not keep. So we are going to go ahead and start. So already know I have my 4 Ofra palettes right here. I have my palette, I have the Empowered palette, the Beach palette, and the Luxe palette. I know for a fact I'm not going to be decluttering these ones, so we'll go ahead and set these ones aside. If you guys saw, I just did a ranking. I ranked all the palettes that I tried in 2023, and I put these pretty low at the bottom. While the formula is actually really not bad, I just know realistically I'm never going to use something like this, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter these two. We have my palette that I created with Ofra Cosmetics. This is my project influencer. I'm definitely holding on to this. I really loved this little Lion King palette. I'm keeping. I did rank the e.l.f. Denim Days palette pretty low. It's actually really cute for what it is, but honestly, I know myself, I'm never really going to dig back into this, so I'm going to actually go ahead and declutter this one. I am going to be keeping my Queen Bee Colored Rain palette. These two Flourishes palettes, they're so freaking pretty. And while I may not always use them the most because, well, they're just too pretty to like touch and mess with, I'm also not willing to part with them just yet because they're just too pretty and I still want to like hold on to these ones. Keep this for the mere fact that you never know, maybe there's a day I want to do like a water activated colorful look. I'm going to want like a little palette like this, and Chaotic Cosmetics has the best hydro palette, so we're going to hold on to this one. I'm trying to not make this a freaking collection video because I just did one, but we do have the Juicy Olive from Give Me Glow. We're holding on to this. Haven't really had a chance to play with the Graveyard Smash from Wicked Widow, so we're definitely holding on to this. We have another Floraces palette. Again, I'm going to be holding on to this one. And then, of course, we do have my Kaleidos with Angelica Nyqvist. I'm definitely holding on to this one. Okay, let's move on to like my Halloween drawer. So we do have the Heather Austin's Resurgence with Unearthly. I'm definitely keeping this one. We do have my 2 Betty Jean palettes that she created with Trial Cosmetics. I'm holding on to these, although it really sucks because this one's really starting to crack. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to hold on to it. Let me show you. A lot of my shimmer shades are starting to crack and I don't know why. So if this whole palette starts to continue to do this, like if like the next 2 shades start to crack, it might be time to declutter it, which is really sad because I've only had this for a couple years, but it's just not wanting to last. We have the Unearthly Don't Be Jelly you're going to hold on to. We have the Murky Waters from Ladybug Glow. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. I have my 2 palettes from Teresa Is Dead. I'm going to hold on to these 2. Definitely will not part from the Rebel Rouge Lab Howlin' For You palette. I love this palette so freaking much. And yeah, not going to part with this one just yet. Same thing, my 2 Alien Cosmetics, aka Unearthly Cosmetics. I'm holding on to these 2. We have the Creatures of Forever from Rebel. We have Creatures of Forever from Rebel Rouge Lab. Just got this in just got this in 2 months ago. Definitely gonna be holding on to this one. Super cute. We have the Cindy Grace and Tiny Marvels. This is actually Mel Thompson's palette that she did with Cindy Grace before she passed. I'm holding on to this. My 3 Gourmand Girl palettes. I love these, so holding on to these ones. And then we have the Makeup Maniacs. Now, y'all, I only keep this because it's a Halloween palette, and I feel like it's so hard to find a Halloween palette nowadays. Like, more brands are starting to cater to it, but I know me, I'm never going to use this palette. Like, I like other palettes that have better formula than this one, but I strictly hold on to it because it's Halloween, and I strictly hold on to it even more so because I like to do it in my palette rankings. So I think for now, this is going to go in the maybe pile. This is my entire Oden's Eye Cosmetics drawer. I'm not going to be decluttering anything from here. Like I said, I did an in-depth review of these over my eyeshadow palette collection video, but I did do a massive declutter of this back in August. So that's why I'm not decluttering any of these, because these are my absolute favorite from the brand. We'll see where I come to next year, but as of right now, nothing's being decluttered. So I just want to show you guys because this is part of the collection, but we're going to hold on to this one so far. Okay, so this drawer is going to contain Nomad Cosmetics, Game Beauty. It's going to have BH Cosmetics, NYX, and it will also have Alter Ego. So let's go ahead and get this started. So first we do have the Nomad Air. I ranked this so low in my palette ranking that I just posted yesterday. I know me, I'm never going to realistically use a palette like this. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my favorite. I do like neutrals, but there's something about this just is so boring, and I'm just not a fan. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the NYX Ultimate Flamingo. I really wanted to love this palette, but it was so disappointing compared to the NYX Ultimate Paradise. The formula just wasn't what I wanted and expected. So unfortunately for me, because I just recently got this, I'm going to declutter. We're going to keep the Ultimate Shock Paradise. This is so good. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going to be decluttered from this drawer. Wow, this is going to be a really fun video, isn't it? So the reason why is that this is all Game Beauty. I'm not parting from this. Alter Ego, really love these palettes. I have my Endanger Cosmetics, and then all of this is Nomad Cosmetics. I'm not parting from anything else from Nomad because I generally really do enjoy all these palettes. Mine is just that one that I decluttered. So this drawer is going to stay the same for now. Up next, we do have my BH Cosmetics, my Fantasy Cosmetics, and a lot more indie brands are going to be found in here. So here are all of my Fantasy Cosmetics palettes right here. I really do love these palettes. I think this brand is absolutely fantastic. The only problem I'm having is with this palette right here, my Bard palette. One of the shades is really starting to crumble, and I keep trying to save it. I keep pressing it, and every time I press it, it just wants to crumble even more. So I don't really know what to do with this one. I'll see if I can get it saved. If I can't save this, then we are going to have to part with this one eventually, because I'm just not going to keep like a ruined palette in my collection. But we're going to hold on to this for now. So I'm holding on to my Fantasy Cosmetics. We have Robert E. Christie. My Game Beauties I'm keeping. These are my Ace Beauté palettes that I'm keeping. But I do have my BH Ice Cream ones. Holding on to these. I just ranked these ones pretty high up in my collection. But let's see what we have behind here that I can see if I can move out the way. So up first, we do have this Makeup Revolution. This is the Forever Flawless Adventure palette. I think she's cute, but I know me, I'm not going to really use this. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one because I just know that it's not going to get the love that it deserves. I'm going to hold on to the e.l.f. one for now. I don't know how much longer she will survive, but I just really do love this palette because I really do love the Chipotle palette, but I don't know how much longer she'll survive my collection declutters. I'm definitely keeping the Ace Beauté Tropical Vibes. Same thing with the Uma Beauty. Really do enjoy these ones. I just got this Salem Cosmetics one, so I'm going to hold on to this for now. We do have the Chaotic Cosmetics. This is the Dreadful Dead palette. Now, I only was holding on to this palette because, again, it is a Halloween Vibe palette. And I know I'm never going to play with this again. I'm never going to use this again. I strictly hold on to it for Halloween ranking. But I feel like that's not really enough for me to justify keeping it anymore because I just don't really care for the quality or the packaging of this. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. Same thing with my Brainwash palette from P.O Cosmetics. I do like the brand. I thought this was a really fun palette. But I was strictly mostly holding on to it because of Halloween. Well, I do really like the formula in here. I just know that I'm not going to really gravitate to this palette as much as I do other palettes in my collection. So for me, it's not enough for me to hold on to. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one as well. Now, I know, like I said, I'm running through these kind of quickly, but it's also because, like I said, I just did the palette collection video. I'm actually going to be doing a makeup like declutter marathon where I'm going to be putting both videos into one. So that's why this one will make sense when you guys see that ultimate. That's why this one will make sense when they're all combined into one. Keep going. So up here, we do have all of my Milk Cosmetics palettes right here. Now, these are the Milk Cosmetics palettes that I generally really do enjoy. So I'm going to hold on to these ones for now. But I do know that eventually these are probably going to be in declutter at some point as well because I just feel like they don't get as much love anymore. So we're going to hold on to them for now, but I feel like we're going to end up decluttering some of these in the future. But here we have all of my ABH palettes. Now, I do have one that I definitely want to declutter, but let me show you these two up first. These two are my Dose of Color palettes. Now, I was holding on to these because, well, I don't know. I was just holding on to these. But here we have the Cutting Edge. It's a really pretty palette, but realistically, I don't ever use this palette anymore. There's nothing wrong with it. I just have other palettes I do kind of prefer over this one. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have my Smoky Soiree palette. Now, I was holding on to this one for the longest time because I generally really do love the black shadow that is found in here. But I just don't use it enough to keep it anymore because I have other palettes now that have amazing black shadows just like this one. So for me, as much as I really loved it for that black shadow, I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. So we do have my Cosmos and my Soft Glam we're going to be holding on to. My Amarizi we're holding on to. We have the Norvina Subculture. And we have Sultry and Carly Bible. But the one I'm definitely willing to part from is I'm willing to go ahead and part from the ABH Norvina collection. Just because I know realistically, I'm never going to use this palette again. It's just so big for what it is. And while it's really pretty and I did have fun with this, I just feel like this should go to a better home. This should receive more love than what I could possibly give it. So we're going to go ahead and declutter this one. I also am going to keep so far the Jackie Aina Riviera in Fall Romance. We're going to hold on to these ones for now. Okay, so now we're moving on to one of my Colourpop drawers. And I know you guys are probably thinking, Allie, this is more like a collection video than declutter because you've barely decluttered a thing. Like, this is boring. Listen, I get it. But I also had an idea in mind of what I was going to be decluttering, not decluttering. So now we're moving on to my Colourpop drawer. Now listen, I have 99 Colourpop palettes. That is just ridiculous. 99 Colourpop palettes. Who's going to really go through all these realistically? So we are going to go ahead and start. So I do have all of my palettes kind of like color coordinated because I do think it looks really, really pretty. But I do want to let you guys know that there are some from here that I'm definitely willing to part with. So starting up, we do have this Main Squeeze palette from Colourpop. This is a Watermelon Vibe Colourpop palette. And you know, I don't even remember my thoughts on this. Truly, I don't remember my thoughts on this. I said that in that video that I had no idea what I thought about this palette. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. We have the Colourpop Ornate eyeshadow palette. This was really pretty. I did enjoy the looks that I did with this collection. I think I actually filmed it in this room. Was one of the first few times that I filmed in here when I first moved in was actually this collection. So while this is a really pretty palette, I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Colourpop. This is the Barquet palette right here. Very gorgeous palette. I love that there's actually no glitters in this palette. I love the match with the shimmer in them. You guys know that I'm a big fan of it. But again, I don't show this palette as much love. It's a very gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I really loved it when I got it, but I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Colourpop. This is going to be the Grandeur palette right here. There is a pressed glitter in the center. This is a very beautiful palette. This is probably my favorite out of the three, but this is their old formula. They don't make their pressed glitters like this anymore, which I'm very grateful for because these pressed glitters were very difficult to work with. I absolutely hated them, and I feel like it took away the value of the palette. But again, my tastes have changed over the years, and I did also reformulate these, but I'm still not going to really dig back in this palette, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this palette. We have the Out All Night palette from Colourpop. There's just little mini 5-pan palettes. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of their 5-pan palettes. I don't know. I just don't gravitate to these. I don't love these as much as I do. They're 9 pan palettes or they're 16 or 12 pan palettes. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Warm Wishes palette. Again, very beautiful 5-pan palette, but I just don't really pick this one up compared to other ones. I really did enjoy playing this when I got it, but I just realistically don't use it enough. So we're gonna go ahead and declutter this one. Gosh, so we have the Jingle On palette right here. Again, this is another new palette they just recently launched for their holidays. It's pretty, it's cute, but I just realistically don't use this enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're going to pass this on. I'm keeping the Clay It Cool. I really do love this palette. So I'm going to keep this one, the Winnie the Pooh one, the Twisted Slate one we're going to hold on to. But we have the Candyland palette. Now, I honestly don't really care for this palette. I don't remember what my thoughts were in the video. I think I even said the same thing. This is like not a overwhelming palette for me. It did come with a little Candyland game in the box, but I paid for it. I wasn't sent in PR, but I just don't show this enough love. It's definitely not my favorite. So we're going to go ahead and pass this on. So I'm going to keep these 3 right here. Then I do have these little Melt For You palettes. Now, like I said, I kept some stuff specifically designed for certain videos. I will never use this palette again. It's pretty, but realistically, I just won't use this palette again. I kept it to possibly do like your top 10 favorite palettes for Valentine's Day, but Valentine's Day is my least favorite holiday, if I'm gonna be very real with you guys. It is my least freaking favorite holiday. So I kept it just for that, and while it is a pretty palette, it hasn't seen love in a long time, so we're going to go ahead and declutter that one. We have the Sealed With a Kiss palette, aka the Swak palette. Again, not my color story. I kept it specifically for certain videos, and I was scared to let things go, but I just don't care anymore, so we're going to go ahead and declutter this one. And then we have the 143 palette, aka I Love You. It's pretty, but again, you have that pressed glitter, and these are big glitter pieces that are in here. Definitely not my favorite. Would not be using this palette again, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. I have the 3 little Bambi palettes. At first, I was going to declutter them, but then when I did my eyeshadow palette collection video, I saw how cute these were again. I really want to play with them again, so we're going to hold on to these ones. And now we have kind of this to go through to see what I want to keep and what I want to declutter. So I know that I have the Mandalorian palette, which I'm going to hold on to. We have the Going Coconuts, one of my favorites still from Colourpop. We have That's Taupe. I just talked about how much I love this. Let's see, what do we have right here? This is the Deja Brew palette. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have my C3PO I'm going to keep. My Little Ray Sunshine I'm going to keep. We have Honey I'm going to keep. We have Baby Got Peach. Oh, we have the Big Poppy one, keeping this one. But then we have Baby Got Peach. Declutter. I'm going to keep Orange You Glad, Sage the Day. We have this one that is the Fresh Greens palette. Oh yeah, I like this one. I'm going to keep this one. We have the Glow Getter palette. I actually got this in a mystery box. I am going to go ahead and declutter this one. All right, we have the Tinkerbell one I'm holding on to. We have Meant to Be. Meant to Be. Oh yeah, I forgot how pretty this palette is. Oh, this is popping up. Oh no, that is popping up. Okay, we're going to hold on to this one. Still going to hold on to Just My Luck. We have Aura Out. Aura Out. Oh yeah, these ones are really pretty. Okay, I'm going to hold on to this one. I'm definitely hold on to the Child, Entrance, definitely the Frozen one, Blue Moon, Lilac You a Lot, Frozen, Just My Luck, and then let's see the Strawberry Shake. Declutter. All right, then we have the Colourpop. We have the Darth Vader palette, definitely holding on to. And then we also have the Smoke Show palette, and I really like this palette. So we are definitely holding on to this one. All right, now moving on to these little mini palettes. See, this is why I said trust the process, guys. Trust the process. So if you guys haven't recently seen, I just showed all these palettes off in a video, and I really do like these little palettes. I did a whole video where I reviewed all of the little mini palette quads for the horoscope collection. So we're going to touch on that in just a minute, but I do have these little mini ones right here. So up first, we do have these cute little ones. This is the palette called Citrus Frizz. Now, I never buy these ones. These ones always come in my Colourpop mystery box, and these are really pretty, but realistically, I don't really use these anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this one. I See You Baby palette, super pretty, but I'm gonna declutter. We have the little Sorbet palette, super pretty again, but I'm decluttering. We have the palette on the Mango, again, a really, really pretty like orange square palette, but I'm gonna declutter. And then we have this cute little like we have this cute little coconut palette, super cute, but since I have the big size of the going coconuts, we are gonna go ahead and declutter this one. All right, then we have all my horoscope ones. I think it's the Semi-Precious Gemini one right here. This palette right here is just, I mean, can you guys see this? It's crumbled apart, breaking. This one's starting to break too. There's no saving this one. So this one has to go ahead and just get decluttered. It's just, I hate opening up this at this point because it's decluttering so much. And this is one of my favorite ones in this one too, surprisingly enough, because I love the color scheme, but we're going to go ahead and declutter this one. When it comes to the rest of the horoscopes, some of these I really like, some of them I just don't care for like color wise. I'm going to go ahead and pull all of them out, because these are officially going in my maybe pile, because I don't know if I'm actually going to keep these ones. So I'm going to put these in my maybe pile. We will come back to this at the end to see if I really want to keep them or not, because realistically, I don't really use them, but there's still a part of me that like wanted to have it because it's horoscopes. I had a lot of fun with it. There's some that are really pretty, great formula, but I need to be more realistic with myself. So here's this drawer. We definitely decluttered a lot from this drawer, but we do have another Colourpop drawer to go through. So let's go ahead and hit that one up. Here's my next Colourpop drawer. Let's start with this one right back here. So I ranked this one pretty low on my ranking list that I posted yesterday, only because I think this palette's pretty, but like I literally have this palette in like other palettes. I have this exact same shades and stuff like that. I also have no affiliation with the Wings Club. I have no idea who they are. So for me, I don't have an attachment. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. I love the Avatar Last Airbender series. So I'm going to hold on to this one. I have the Garden Variety palette. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have Avatar The Last Airbender. Definitely holding on to this. I am for sure keeping my Disney Mulan palette, of course. We have the Limoncello palette. You know, I actually was not the biggest fan of this palette when I reviewed it, and I'm still not the biggest fan. So for me, while it's pretty, it just wasn't what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have Not a Box Chocolates. Really do love this palette. Holding on to this. We have the Flirty Talk palette. You know, I think for now, I'm going to hold on to this one. Keep one Valentine's Day special palette so that if I do want to do like light pinks and stuff like that, I could. So we're going to hold on to this one for now. We have the Snow White palette. I'm definitely going to be holding on to the Snow White palette. Malibu Barbie. Definitely holding on to this one. We have the Sweet Talk palette. This used to be my favorite only because I loved this shade right here. But I feel like that's not enough to justify keeping this palette anymore. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter. Can you believe that? I'm finally decluttering this. I'm shocked myself. I think the reason I'm decluttering it is because I do really love the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette, which is like my replacement of this. Okay, so moving on, we have As Good as Gold. I'm holding on to this one. We have the Wild Nothing palette. I really loved this at the time, so I thought this shade was just so freaking pretty. But again, it's been a long time since I've used these palettes. Like this is even barely showing up anymore the way that it used to. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have my Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeers I'm holding on to. Liz McGuire I'm holding on to. The Witching Hour, Alice in Wonderland. We have my Haunted Mansion I'm holding on to. But then we have the Malibu and the Springs. This one's so pretty. I think I'm going to keep this one for now because this one is just way too pretty. Powerpuff Girls, 1111, Star Wars, Hocus Pocus, Disney, and like all my big palettes. I'm going to hold on to these for now, but I think we did a really great job of decluttering a lot of Colourpop so far. Okay, so up next we do have like my Blend Bunny Cosmetics, my Be Perfect, Adept, and whatnot. So here we have the Lore palette. Definitely holding on to this one. Absolutely love this palette. We have the Sugar and Grunge I'm going to hold on to. Sickly Sweet I'm going to hold on to. We have Machine I'm going to hold on to. We have the All Done Up I'm going to hold on to. Blends, my favorite, we're going to hold on to. Then we have Dollhouse. This is a pretty palette, but I don't really show this one as much love as it should get. So for the first time ever, guys, I'm actually going to be decluttering a Blend Bunny palette. And I never thought I would because I absolutely love this brand. It's one of my favorite brands alongside Glamlight. But I just feel like I don't show this one enough love because it is more neutral, and I just love Blend Bunny's like colorful palette. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and declutter this one. We also have the Forget Me Not palette. You know, this is meant for like makeup artists that are out there because it's like a face palette. But I just, again, don't really show this a lot of love. It's actually ranked pretty low on my palette ranking of the year. So again, I'm going to declutter this one. Then we have Beauty Baby palettes. I'm definitely holding on to these ones. These ones are just really good. We have the Made by Mitchell we're going to hold on to. We have All My Be Perfect with Stacey Marie, the makeup artist. I'm going to hold on to these ones right here. And then we have my little Adept Cosmetics section. So up first we do have the Minka palette. Really do love this Minka palette. I'm going to hold on to this one. We have the Amulet palette from Adept. I'm going to declutter this one. It's pretty, but it's just not really a color scheme for me. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the beautiful Heather Austin palette. Definitely holding on to this. And then we also have the Arrow palette that I got this past year in a mystery box, and we're gonna definitely hold on to this one. Look at me, guys. I'm actually getting rid of brands that I love so much, but I'm trying to let go of my hoarding tendencies. So I think we're doing pretty good. All right, next we're moving on to the next drawer. I have my two palettes from Too Faced. I have my Pumpkin Spice and Italian Spritz. She's cute. She's cute. I'm gonna hold on to these two. I do have my little palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I actually got this in a mystery box this past year, and I forgot to do it in a ranking, honestly. It's just a little, this is the Pillow Talk Luxury Palettes of Pop. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. I'm going to keep my Man Eater, my Danessa Myricks, and my Urban Decay from Game of Thrones, keeping that one. Definitely keeping my Makeup by Mario palette. We have the Urban Decay Cyber palette. This is pretty, but I don't really use it, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and declutter this one. Okay, so here is my Pat McGrath, my Natasha Denona, and my Huda Beauty. So I have all three of these Star Wars palettes right here that I got this past year. I did a review on all three of these, and I actually ranked these ones to be pretty low in my collection just because the whole experience of Pat McGrath just was horrible. Hated their customer service, and these are just very cheap for what they are. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this Sith Seduction palette. I have the Divine. We have the golden one. This is like the C3PO palette. Again, not what I wanted, not what I'm used to. Like Colourpop has a better one for like a third of the cost. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. I have the Divine Droid palette, and again, I'm decluttering. I'm going to hold on to the Natasha Denona. This is the Triochrome. I'm going to hold on to this. We have the Love palette from Natasha Denona. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. This is Sunset palette. Really, really do like this one, so I'm actually going to hold on to this one. All my other Natasha Denona ones right here, I'm going to keep for now. But let's move on to Pat McGrath. We have the Pat McGrath. This is the Celestial Odyssey palette. I bought it last year, but I barely touch it, so I'm going to declutter. We have the Celestial Divinity palette from Pat McGrath. I think this is really pretty, but I don't really show it as much love anymore like I used to. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one as well. I'm going to hold on to the Moonlight Seduction one because I really do like this one. So I'm going to hold on to this one. This is just the normal, I guess, Mothership palette. I'm going to hold on to this one so far. We have the Star Wars palette. This thing is so old. Like, honestly, it's starting to, like, dry and crack. So I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one as well. We have another Star Wars one. This is the Rise of Skywalker one. Very, very pretty. I really did enjoy this, but again, I'm just having it just for collector's sake, and at this point, I just feel like I should go ahead and let this one go. Same thing with this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and let this one go as well because, again, I'm holding on to it for collector's sake, and I don't actually really use it, and I have no intention to, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one as well. I'm going to keep the little mini Zindo palette for now. And then my sister, she did get me this one, so I'm going to hold on to this one along with the two Bridgerton ones. And then we have all my Huda Beauty, and I'm not departing from any Huda Beauty, so definitely did make some space in this drawer. I'm proud of that. Okay, so up next, we do have all of my Dominique Cosmetics, my Jaclyn X Morphe, my ex Jaclyn X Morphe, and then we also have a Kylie Cosmetics at the very bottom. I'm not going to declutter anything from this drawer. The biggest reason why is that they don't even make these palettes anymore. I think only like 3 of these palettes are still being sold. Like the Unconditional Love, the Transition palette, and like the Essential palette. Everything else, they don't sell anymore. They discontinued them, so I don't really know what's going on with that. So eventually these actually might end up getting moved to like a shadow box just because they are discontinued and like you can't really get your hands on them anymore, and I kind of still want to hold on to them. But I still have my Jaclyn Cosmetics ones I don't want to let go of yet, so I just want to show you guys these because they are part of my collection. Same thing with like my P. Louise collection right here. So I have all my P. Louise palettes in 2-pack or tall. I'm not going to declutter anything from here either. So let me go ahead and I'm going to reorganize my collection just a tiny bit because we do have a big Colourpop drawer I have to reorganize. I'm going to count how many palettes I decluttered. I'm hoping that I decluttered at least 50 palettes, if not more. My goal is to go from 406 to hopefully 306, declutter 100, see what we came up with. But let me just quickly put this together, see what we have decluttered, and go from there. All right, guys, so I counted and we decluttered 64 palettes so far. I'm not satisfied with that number. I want to declutter more, so I'm gonna be a little bit more harsh, and if it hurts my feelings, it hurts my feelings. If I get sad, whatever, I want to declutter more because it's so unrealistic for somebody to still have like 360 something palettes. I don't like that, so we're gonna declutter more. So we're gonna be a little bit more harsh this time. All right, so starting up. Going back to these drawers one more time. We have my Ofra palettes right here. I'm going to keep the Falling in Love palette because that is my palette. I'm obsessed with that palette. We have the Luxe palette right here. This is a really beautiful, like, neutral eyeshadow palette. I love this palette. This is my second one that I have because the first one I actually, like, kind of destroyed because I used so much of it. But I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Beachside palette. Again, another beautiful palette from Ofra Cosmetics. But realistically, I'm holding on to it because I just really love it. I'm not really using it. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Empowered palette. A very beautiful palette. Again, one of my favorites from Ofra besides my own. But I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. I'm going to keep the Queen Bee. I'll keep the Chaotic and the Essence. Obviously, I'm going to keep my own. And then I'm going to keep everything else in this drawer. But let's move on to the next one. All right. So up first, we do have my 5 Game Beauty. I'm still going to hold on to this. We have my Nomad, but there's one Nomad that I don't really have too much of attachment to, and that is their Japan Tokyo one. This is really pretty, but I was just holding on to it for a collector's item to have a whole collection, but realistically, I don't need to have a whole collection, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to declutter this one. Love these ones. Okay, so hold on to these ones. We have my 2 Endangered Cosmetics. I wish they would release more, but they have not. We do have these ones right here from Alter Ego. Now, since these are dupe palettes, we should probably go through these ones right here. We have the Sakura palette right here. Now, this is actually a dupe to the Natasha Denona. I need a Natasha Denona Retro Glam palette. Very beautiful, but since I have the original, I'm going to go ahead and depart with this. This is the Canon palette. This is a dupe to the Natasha Denona bronze palette, but I do not own that bronze palette, so I'm actually going to go ahead and save this one. I really enjoyed this Mirage palette. This is the dupe to the Empowered palette from Huda Beauty. I'm going to hold on to this one though, only because I think the formula is a little bit better in this one. We have the Goddess palette. And this is a dupe to the Natasha Denona Gold palette, but I actually don't own that palette, so we're going to hold on to this one. Gourmand Girls Warriors Wear Pink. Very, very beautiful palette, but I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. All right, let's revisit this drawer right here. So let's start with the ABH palettes. All right, so we have the Jackie Aina palette. I really do love this palette. I have great memories with this palette. I think it's really pretty, so we are going to hold on to this one. We have the Riviera palette. I had a fun time when I reviewed this, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. Fall Romance, I'm still going to hold on to this one. We have the Amarizi one. Amarizi. Oh yeah, I forgot how pretty this one is. She was well loved. I'm going to hold on to this one. We have the Sultry palette, but honestly, I was just kind of keeping it more for like a sentimental value because someone got it for me for my birthday one year, but I'm never going to use this again, so I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Carly Bible. Again, I don't really show this one as much love. I got a lot of hate in that video. First time I experienced hate on the internet, but it makes me laugh now. But I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. Soft Glam is a classic, so we're definitely going to hold on to this one. We're going to hold on to Cosmos. We have Subculture. I did try this out. It did not really perform well for me. I picked this up at TJ Maxx, so I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Novu palette. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Novu palette. I actually really do like this one, so I'm going to hold on to this one. I'm going to hold on to my Melt for now. All right, so I'm keeping on the Blends palette, but we have the Be Perfect. We have the We have this little, we have a Beauty Bay, we have the Earthly palette, but since I have a bigger form of this one, we're going to go ahead and declutter this one. I'm going to keep the Witch one. I'm going to keep the Wilderness one. So freaking pretty. Love this palette. Just like I love the Book of Shadows palette too. I'm going to keep the Made by Mitchell just because this will always have a special place in my heart because of Mikey. So I'm actually going to keep this palette. I decided to part from the Naked Urban Decay Wild West just because I wanted to have this, but honestly, when I look at it, it's really pretty, but I have these colors in other palettes. I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. And that's the only thing I'm decluttering from that drawer, so that's why I didn't bother pulling it out. I have the Party Animal palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles, but I was just holding on to it to have a full collection, but realistically, I don't need to have a full collection, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. Same thing with my Boss Babe. I know realistically I'm never going to use this, so I'm actually going to go ahead and declutter this one. Now I have this empty magnetic pan that has all of Laura Lee Los Angeles loose single shadows along with Teresa X Lethal Cosmetics. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this entire thing. I'm going to keep the empty magnetic palette because I'm actually going to put my Odin's Eye individual shadows in here. So I'm going to keep the magnetic palette, but I'm actually going to declutter everything else that's in here. Okay, so I'm also going to go ahead and declutter the Juvia's Place Garden of Juvia. This is a really pretty pastel palette, but I actually do have quite a few pastel palettes in my collection, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. I decided to go ahead and declutter the Barred palette because I'm just tired of fighting this shade right here. As pretty as it is and how much as I loved this little palette because it's like a perfect fall palette, this shade just won't stop breaking and I'm just tired of dealing with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and declutter this one, sadly. I've had this palette for years, but I have no intention of really using it again. As pretty as it was and as much as I loved it, I have not picked it up in a very long time. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter the Uma Beauty Black Magic palette. Decided to go ahead and declutter the Smokin' Hot palette from Colourpop just because it's a pretty palette, but I'm not going to really use this that often. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. We have the Play a Jewel palette. I got it in a Colourpop mystery box, but realistically, I'm not going to really play with this one. It's a lot of shimmers, which is really pretty, but I need to be realistic myself. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. And then I'm also going to go ahead and declutter the Kathleen Lights collaboration because this is an older palette. I don't really use this. I got this in a mystery box as well. And there are pressed glitters in here, and these are their old pressed glitter formula that I'm just not a fan of. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. All right, guys. So we are back again, and I was in the middle of organizing, and I was like, you know what? I'm still not really at my goal. Let me go through my collection one more time. So I pulled out all the palettes that I'm going to be decluttering that I said yes to originally in the beginning of the video, but now I'm just saying, you know what? Screw it. So let's just quickly go over these ones. So up first, you have the Colourpop. This is the In the Trance palette, or Aurora Out. It's really pretty, but it does have their old pressed glitters in here. I got this in 2020 because I remember actually being at the zoo when this got launched in 2020, and it was right when COVID was happening. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. Next, we have the Colourpop In a Trance. This is part of that same collection, but again, it has those pressed glitters that I'm just generally not a big fan of. So we're going to go ahead and let go of In a Trance. I kept this because I thought I was going to do some really fun makeup looks, but let's be realistic. I don't really do anything sci-fi like this. So I'm going to go ahead and let go of this retro pink palette. I'm sure that if I ever need any face paint, I can go find some other ones out there, but I'm going to go ahead and let this go because this has been since like 2020, 2019, and yeah, I think it's time to let it go. All right, we have the Saga of Freya from Odin's Eye. I really do enjoy this. It's really pretty, but realistically, I like some of their other palettes more, so I don't really gravitate to this one as much. Plus, I have mints and other palettes. I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. We have the Erd palette from Odin's Eye. Again, this is another beautiful palette, but I just don't really gravitate to it as much, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. Have the Dominique Cosmetics. This is the transition palette. This is only meant for transition shades. I personally don't find it pretty. I got it like in a little PR box and they sent it to me. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go because I'll never use it. We have CXC Beauty. I really do love the owners, and this was a really cute palette. I did play with it for a little bit. I did enjoy this, but realistically, I just don't really use like little small palettes like this. It was really nice formula. I did enjoy it. So because it's a really small palette, I know I really won't use this as much. I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. I'm going to let go of the Dominique Cosmetics. This is like the Now or Never palette. It has a pressed glitter, which you guys know I'm not really the biggest fan of. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. I have the Dominique Cosmetics. This is the Unconditional Love palette. Again, very pretty palette, but I hate the pressed glitters in here. They're not fun to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. Since I do have the full-size Xenon palette from Natasha Denona, I really don't need to keep the mini one because it's the exact same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. We have the Dominique Cosmetics Sweater Weather palette. God, I think this is ugly. I think this is ugly. I only kept it for my winter/holiday ranking palettes, but again, I just think it's really ugly. Outside packaging is super cute. Inside color story, it's not it for me. So there's no point keeping it just for a ranking. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. I have the Melt Cosmetics Rustic palette. I think out of all the Melts one, this is like the one that I have left that I do think it's really pretty, but I do think the other ones that I have fit more of my color scheme. There's too many neutral shades in here. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. And lastly, for my palette that I am decluttering in this video, we do have Melt Cosmetics Gemini 2 palette. This just isn't really my color scheme. I have it because I like being a hoarder and having full collections of palettes, but I think I'm kind of over that phase now where I have a full collection of brands. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this one along just because I know I'm never going to really use it. So let me go ahead and show you guys what my collection looks like now. Tell you guys how many palettes I decluttered and how many I kept. All right, so this is how my collection looks like now. I'm so excited for you guys to hear what the final number is. So here, I'm just going to quickly go over everything. I have my drawer of just kind of random stuff of like Florasis, Essence, Ofra Cosmetics. We do have my Odin's Eye Cosmetics drawer right here. Now we do have some empty spaces that I can lay those down. We do have like my Halloween indie drawer. We have my Nomad, my Game Beauty, my Alter Ego all up in here. We have my BH Cosmetics, my Alter Ego. We have my BH Cosmetics, we have NYX, we have Ace Beauté, we have Fantasy Cosmetica, Game Beauty, all in this drawer. We have my Melt Cosmetics and my ABH. Definitely looks a lot better than what it did. We have my Colourpop drawer. Guys, look at this. Look at this. This is freaking insane. Oh my gosh. And then look at this. Looks definitely a little bit better. Definitely more room to put more Colourpop palettes eventually, depending on how the brand's doing. Then we have my Blend Bunny and my Beauty Bay and Adept Cosmetics. We have my very empty, like high-end drawer. We have my Natasha Denona, my Huda Beauty, and my Pat McGrath. Again, this drawer is looking so much empty compared to what it was. We have my Dominique Cosmetics and Jacqueline collaboration with Morphe, and then my P. Louise and my Patrick Ta. So in total, guys, I had over 406 palettes, but I'm so excited to say that I decluttered 100 palettes. That's right, I decluttered 100 palettes. 42 of it was Colourpop. Let me show you guys what it looks like. So that's Koa. So this is my drawer. This is my declutter pile right here. There are over 100 palettes in this declutter pile that you guys see right here. There are 100 palettes, 42 of it is Colourpop, but I'm so impressed and proud of myself because you guys know that I have been collecting some of these palettes for years, but I just realized that, you know what, I gotta let some things go. So I let go of like Blend Bunny. I've never let go of Blend Bunny before, so that's a first for me. I let go of Ofra Cosmetics, Alter Ego. We let go of Urban Decay. We let go of a lot of Colourpop palettes, Melt Cosmetics, Natasha Denona. We let go of all of my ABH palettes that I've had for so long. We let go of Laura Lee, Pat McGrath, Star Wars, Dominique Cosmetics. Look at all of this. I am so proud of how much I was able to declutter. So I started off this video with 406 palettes, and now we are ending with 306 palettes, which still is a lot. Believe me, I know that's still a lot, but this is so much better than what it once was. And I'm so excited to make my collection just a little bit smaller because realistically, nobody needs that many palettes. Like realistically, nobody needs that many palettes, but look at this. I'm so proud. Oh my God, I'm so proud. And I did declutter all of the horoscope collection. That was sad for me, but I just knew it was the best thing to do. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think of this declutter. Like I said, if you guys want to see my entire eyeshadow palette collection before the declutter, head on over to my video, which I'll have linked down below. That's where you guys can see all of these palettes in details, what they look like and everything if you want to. But this is my massive declutter pile, and I think it looks so good, and I'm very proud of my new collection. So with that said, that is it for today's video, guys. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 4 to 5 videos every single week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channels, R for Life. You guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to these beautiful, wonderful Patreon members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in my very next video.